Once again, everybody, we are looking at a new update coming out on World of Tanks for the console, both your PlayStation and your Xbox One. The 3.1 Viva La France, coming soon. Don't know why there's not a TM on there, should be, but there we go. There are going to be a few notes on what's actually happening, the main ones being your maps and some certain tanks coming out on the Xbox. I won't be covering the PlayStation ones because the tanks coming out on the PS4 are ones that the Xbox already has, so you will find a lot of information on the actual forum-based website, the World of Tanks website, and also YouTube about the specifics. But I shall be going through the tanks that are going to be available to the Xbox One, specifically the Tier 9 and the Tier 10 medium. The rest of them you go to about Tier 5, so there aren't really that many interesting ones. I presume a lot of people won't spend their time down in those low tiers. But the Tier 10 is going to be a very special one to have a look out for, especially on the battlefield because of its alpha damage, what it can actually do. So without further ado, we'll start the scrolling. The first thing to come across is the new vehicles in the Xbox. So you're starting off from Tier 2, the two Tier 2s, the FCM 36 and the Renault R35, then you've got Tier 3, Tier 4 and Tier 5. The ones that are going to be coming out, which are most likely going to be seen on a regular basis, starting off with the Tier 9 Amex 31ER prototype. Same cost as everything else in terms of its purchase price. You are looking at 1550 hit points, so this is looking to be another one of those tanks where it's going to rely on its sloped armor like the Russians, most of their like TD line. Yeah, it might be fast, so I'm going to presume in some game that's going to have some beneficial factors, but certainly watch out for the fact it will not be able to have decent armor. Going through the list of what's available for it, so you can see the mobility is actually really quite good. The gun itself is about right. I mean, it's not as good as your Russian mediums. Again, I do like to kind of compare them to them because it's what you will generally see on the battlefield is T-54s, left, right and centre. Not so often the Object 430 because of the turret reverse only 180 degrees, but this is going to be something which is going to be, I presume, behind the heavy support, so it won't be something you'll be using spotting, not certainly with 380 meters of view range. Even with Minos coated optics, you're not really going to find it's going to be a useful feature of it. I don't see it that being the case. You might find it's going to be further back and it's going to be used to be able to switch position, so if you need to go to another end of the map quickly enough, you can find yourself doing that on a regular basis, but at the same time, you're not going to be the person who's going to be up front taking the brunt, nor are you going to be the person hull down, spotting, proxy spotting, distance spotting and try and get some actual spot target hits. I don't see that being the case of this one in particular. That's pretty much where it's going to be going from. The MX 1390 is going to be going to that one, so it's going to be an alternative to the actual backchat line going all the way to the end. The Tier 10 version, the MX 30B, you are looking at a lot different it looks to be different in the stats that I've seen and read. So you're looking at the same speed limit and the same traverse speed, so you're not looking at anything different vastly in terms of its mobility. One of the things you are looking at being different though is its armor penetration and its damage. It's very much similar to your high-end E5 kind of rolls, in that you get like 350, 400, hence the reason why the rate of fire is only 6.74. The penetration, I believe, is going to be on standard rounds, but for AP ammunition, 195, that's very akin to your Russian medium, so it's going to be bloody good. And I wouldn't be surprised if that is APCR standard and it's going to be heat as a premium ammunition choice. One of the other factors for it is it's got 410 meters of view range. So this is certainly one that you're going to find being a case of sitting back, hiding in the bush. I don't know what the camo rating is going to be like. I may have to have a look at that one and add it to the description a bit later. But you are looking to be the one that goes on from the prototype and same price. So pretty much every other Tier 10. The hit point's 1900, so I expect this one to be further back. One thing I am questioning is what the hell that is on top of the tank. It looks to be more like a periscope that seems to stick 17 foot out from it. Whether that's going to be a glaring weak spot that people are going to aim for, or even the box on the front left, it remains to be seen. It reminds me much of the Leopard in the way it looks, but it's not going to be one you're going to see. It's going to be one you're going to be felt when you actually get smashed by it for near enough 400 damage. Certainly when you consider that you might be using a heavily armoured tank, no, that's probably going to go straight through it. They're pretty much the changes or the additions they're going to be adding to the French line on the Xbox, and you can see the PlayStation 4. They're all the tanks that are available. There you go with the backchat for your upwards of tier 10s, and unfortunately, the PlayStation is now going to be getting the About Shop artillery, which, if you've ever seen videos on it, it's bloody annoying. Auto load on artillery, that's all I need to say, because you can figure out what's going to happen with that. Moving on to the maps, two in particular, Erlenberg and Steps. They're going to be having differences added to them in terms of the environment. So you're going to have a snowstorm blizzard on Erlenberg and a sandstorm on Steps. One of the factors is that during this time, your view range, your signal range goes down. All well and good on Steps, not too bad. Erlenberg, it seems like it's a quick fix to try and get people to go forward because it's much of a stalemate. For the first part, I see people not moving on Erlenberg, staying in the same formation, and then going forward. The issue is it doesn't tell you by how much your view range or signal range is hampered. So whilst you can go into sniper view and see how far a distance is in terms of target, if you've got a 410 meter view range and you zoom in and you see that the distance in between you and that is 380 meters, you can then work out how far forward you can go before you're likely to spot something, so you're not going to launch yourself into a YOLO charge and find this 5U100 sitting on their base, because they never do that, do they? Never. So that'll be interesting to see. Not just at how good it's going to look, but I'm more interested in how it's going to affect the play. I would like to know how much it actually hampers the view range and the signal range, by how much, whether that's going to be affected in terms of the tank you're actually playing, or if it's just an overall, it will reduce your visibility about 20% on your view range, and your signal range is, say, 30% or something. I don't know, just random numbers, if they're just going to be the actual deciding factor within that. But they'll be looking nice to play. The other issue is, I'd like to play them and get them up on YouTube. Whether I actually do get a chance to play them, I don't know. It took me a while to find Ghost Town. The big hoo-ha with Dragon Ridge is apparently sorted. Now, the big hoo-ha with Dragon Ridge should have been sorted by never being added to the Xbox. More console based. Primarily because the PC was actually having it removed. So what they've done with this one is lower everything down, so you're less likely to climb Everest. It should make it a lot easier. That remains to be seen. The way in which the map is laid out as well is looked to be changed. So there are going to be, I'd presume, half the map. If anything, the channel on the right hand side, if you spawn and you look at the map as you are, is going to be the one that I see change more than the left, because that's where people go. I presume they will look at the heat map and see where people sit, where people shoot from, how long they're staying for, and look to change that to try and build it up. Sacred Valley being one of them, in that they found that one team had an advantage over the other one, so they basically just flattened the hill. So that is one thing that I see being different. The left-hand side, probably not so much. Some of the other things that they're adding in is solid camouflage to German tanks and British tanks. It has to be said, it's not all of them. Only some of them will be able to get this. Apparently it's a big thing. Maybe the German desert camo looks nice, but the summer camo looks a bit poo. But for me, I do actually quite like all my camos with the different paint jobs. The ones that were considered to be absolutely useless, I do like. There's like one that looks like a Twister ice cream on the Russians, which is one of my favourites. Whether they'll actually look good on the normal tanks that you can see now, okay-ish. Meh. That at least is one thing to add on, but it's only on a select few, and at the moment they're not telling us which ones it's going to be added on. We are getting updates, what looks to be like a proper spectator mode. Now I know this is going to be changing team training rooms. I don't know if it's going to be changing in-game. I would like to see it in-game because I'd like to be able to make random little videos out of stuff that actually happens in-game. Maybe they'll add a replay feature later on, I don't know. That would also be quite a useful thing, because I know you can do it on the PC and have yourself flying around the map, and you can make all sorts of crazy, brilliantly good videos. I mean, there's plenty of them on the PC. But what they will be doing is adding team colour traces, so it makes it easier for people to see primarily where shots are coming from and who they're actually being played from. At the moment, I can't find any information whether that's just in training room or if that's actually going to be in-game public matchmaking. We'll see. The updates you can see below: 4.6 for the Xbox, 1.5 for the 360, and around about 3.5 for the PlayStation 4. The notes below, there are going to be some changes to the website, which is odd because it's not something you usually say. But the web store, you'll be able to purchase bundles from the console website, and they'll be available in-game. Presumably that will be linked to the actual account you have logged in on the website. So as you can see in the top right corner, that is my gamer tag, so they'll be linked together. The expanded team training is what's available in the filters and the options and the functionality of the Spectator Mode. If there is an option of being able to see that in public game matchmaking, I'll see about getting it up and running to show you what it's like. I fingers crossed it is. I mean, if it's in team training, it's a bit poo because you don't really have that many people playing for it. But the rest of the notes themselves are just basically what's already covered within the update itself, as well as little bug fixes. One of which you may not have noticed, but a lot of people, at least that I've played with, have, is this one. So that whenever you return to the garage before your tank is, or say for example your tank is blown up and you return to the garage, you always find yourself at the beginning of the list. And for me, all my Russian tanks are at one end of the list and I get pushed to the other. So I have to keep going back and forth and remembering where I am. So next thing I'm trying to play my T16X, I'm like, I clearly didn't have this tank selected before. So that'll be good fun. But there are other bug fixes that should come in. The ties in the team deathmatch are now properly resolved. When both teams have an equal number left, the team with the highest total hit points remaining wins. That was a slight issue. Not really one I came across. I mean, out of everything that I've played, nearly 9,000 games, I think I've had only like 100 draws. So it's a very small thing to happen. I'm very surprised that has been put in. Although I don't know how they didn't manage to find it before. But we'll know. The other issue, which was a main one, is the gathering information after you left a game and you got put back into the garage. It would sit there with gathering information, so you'd have to restart the actual game. So quit back to dashboard, press start, quit, etc., and go back in. And the marks of excellence on the German vehicles have been reverted to their original form. I think a lot of people are saying it's difficult to see them, which it is. Most of the other tanks that you've got the red stars in the Russians, they're very easy to see. White stars of American, they're very easy to see. The big, thick white marks on the French and the British tanks, very easy to see. The Germans were a bit queryable. You couldn't really see much of them. But the rest of it is just slightly changes to the way in which tanks look. So there's not really much of a nerf or a buff to any of them. It's just based on the way they look. And that's pretty much the update that's going to be coming out. There are differences that have been added to the map. I would advise to have a look at these. There are some which you may actually remember and think about, and some which you may not. But a lot of them are just texture updates, sound effects updates. Some of them, such as Abbey in this case, covered up jagged terrain where vehicles were getting stuck. That is a bloody big issue on a lot of that map. So that'll be fun to see how that goes. But I'll post a link in this in the description so you can actually have a look at it as well, if there were any maps that you were having issues with. Unfortunately, you'll find, if I go back up, Dragon Ridge fixed instances of trees and bamboo clipping. That hasn't been fixed by removing the map, my personal opinion. But then again, I don't like artillery either. But there you go. Anyways, that's literally the update that's going to be coming out soon, TM. If I do get a time and date as to when it's going to be coming, I'll pop that in the description as well. But hopefully, yeah, if you have a good read through this, you'll be able to see something you might get excited for, especially if you're on the PS4, because a lot of them French tanks are good. But watch out for the auto loaders, because they will rip you apart. As always, like, comment and subscribe, and hope you enjoyed.